Right, so you're live on YouTube.
Good evening. We will be waiting 15 minutes in hopes that we have an additional counselor joining us. So we have quorum. At this time, we will have to wait approximately 15 minutes and decide the status of the meeting at that time.
Ray is just joining us now.
And we now have quorum. Thank you. Okay, we'll call to order at 7:01. So adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none. The Inuvik Town Council hereby adopts the agenda as presented. I need a mover. Councillor Barlick, and a seconder, Councillor Wood. Any questions, concerns? Okay, carried. Any declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest? Councillor Barlow.
I'll have to declare conflict on 8.1.
Okay. Any other conflicts? Okay, moving on to item number 4, delegations, presentations, and petitions. I know we do have something from the Girl Guides, but that'll appear a little bit later in our meeting. Item number 5, public question period. SAO Hood, do we have anything from the public?
I have not received anything.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, adoption of the minutes. So the minutes of the September 28th and 30th, 2020 council meetings. Are there any amendments to the minutes? Seeing none. The Inuvik Town Council hereby adopts the minutes of the September 28th and 30th, 2020 council meetings as presented. A mover? Councillor Salaki?
I'll move.
Sorry, I'll move.
Okay.
Moved.
Councillor
Councillor
Barlow
McBride.
and Salaki. Councillor Barlow, did you have a question?
Just with respect to section 9.3 in the bylaws, we had inquired about whether we wanted to look at like a definition of extended period of time in the vacant and derelict properties bylaws, well, a couple other issues, and it was said that the questions were related to legal counsel. Have we had a response back from them on that stuff yet?
SAO Hood, if you could respond.
We have not received anything, and that's why they're actually not on the agenda for tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions in regards to the minutes? Okay, motion carried, or all in favor? Motion carried. Item number 7, action items list. So you have the action item list in front of you. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns at this time? Seeing none. Item number 8, new business. Should be joined by Tracy Davison. Is she online, SAO?
Yes.
And I'll head out here, so someone text me or yell at me when you're done.
So at this time, do you want to speak to your application for the Inuvik Girl Guides?
She was there. She disappeared. I apologize. She was on the line now. When I look at who's there, she has disappeared again.
Okay, do we want to move this item down for her to come back and continue on, or shall we discuss?
I would say that if council wants to discuss it, if they feel they have enough information off it now, and go see, and if they feel that they need more information, then we could probably do it. That would be my recommendation, given that Councillor Barlow, do we bring back and then have to leave again, that kind of thing, just from a convenience point of view.
Nope, I understand that. That works for me. let's move this and then put it on the table and we'll discuss from there. So the Inuvik Town Council hereby waives the rental fee for the use of the Midnight Sun Complex Community Hall by the Inuvik Girl Guides between the hours of 5:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. on Mondays. This decision will be reviewed by council administration during the first set of council meetings in 2021. Do I have a mover?
I'll move it.
And seconder, Councillor Slofsky. Okay. Any discussion arising from this? Councillor Wood?
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button for a second there. I'm just curious as to what has changed with the Girl Guide since our last set of meetings. I believe it was Grant stated that the town had been approached for the community hall and mentioned they had secured funding and would be paying the rental fee. So does anybody know what has changed since then?
It could be that their funding could be used for other purposes, that they were looking at using it for the rental fee, but I believe that since the motion was approved regarding the judo club, that they felt that they would come forward. Oh, hang on, Tracy's just back in now, so pardon me. So that may be that they've decided that they would check and go. But you could ask. Tracy's there now. I don't see any. And Deputy Mayor McDonald, I don't know if you want to ask Tracy if she wants to speak or.
Sure. Good evening. Hi, Tracy, can you hear us?
Hi, sorry, yes. I was having some technical issues getting into the meeting.
That's okay. We're currently on your item and we're discussing the Monday nights as you've requested. And Councillor Wood had a question for you. Councillor Wood, would you repeat your question for Ms. Davidson, please?
Certainly. Hi, Tracy. At our last set of meetings, our SAO mentioned that you had secured funding for the rental fee and were willing to pay the cost. Can you tell me what's changed since then?
Well, we hadn't secured funding. I was going to apply to some different sources for funding, which is what I had asked for some information from town staff so I could apply for those other sources of funding.
Okay, thank you for that. I just had one more small item regarding this. The last set of meetings when the application came from the judo club, I voted against it because there were adults involved. However, with the Girl Guides, as far as I know, they're all kids, so I don't think there's any real old ones. So I fully support them with a review in January. That's all I had.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, so we will call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Davidson.
Thank you very much.
SAO Hood,
Yes.
I had a point of clarification. Since this is my first meeting that I've run, we did move and second the adoption of the agenda, but I did not do a motion carried or all in favor. When Councillor Bartlett comes back, if Councillor Wood can contact him, that would be great.
I just sent a text.
What do we do about that?
I would say that you just go back and ask.
Okay.
If somebody had any.
So if we could wait for Councillor Bartlett to return. I don't have his contact information with me.
Well, I just sent him a text, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
So what you missed, Councillor Bartlett, is the very beginning when we did the motion for the agenda, I did not ask for all in favor. So I'd like to just review that now. So we'll just go back to item number 2, please. So the motion was moved by Councillor Bartlett, seconded by Councillor Wood. So all in favor of the agenda? So carried. Thank you. Moving back on to item 8.2. It's the as and when contracts. So the Inuvik Town Council hereby awards the 2020-2021 as and when required electrical and controls tender contract to Plum Crazy Mechanical Limited for the tendered price of $47,000. I need a mover. Councillor Barlick,
I would just amend that motion. It should actually be $40,000 as per the notes above. Just put the wrong number in. So it should be tendered price of $40,000.
okay, and seconder. Councillor Wood. Discussion arising. So all in favor as amended?
Aye.
Carried. Next tender, RFCD 2020 SAO-074 2021-2022 as and when requiring plumbing and mechanical tender contract to Plum Crazy Mechanical Limited for the tender price of $42,500. Any mover, please? Councillor Slawki, and seconder, Councillor Barlick. Questions or concerns?
Why was the higher bid taken?
I believe there was an addendum that was not submitted by the second contractor, so therefore became invalid at that time. So the next bid became the winning bidder.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding this particular tender? Councillor Wood,
What was the addendum that was missing?
SAO Hood.
The addendum was out for hours for a gas fitter because this company also, we have a lot of requirements in the plumbing for a licensed gas fitter that has to do some of the work. So we wanted to get pricing on estimated hours and that for a gas fitter as well, because it could be different than a regular plumber.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. 8.4, the Inuvik Town Council hereby awards the 2021 as and when required utilidor piling repair tender contract to Northwind Industries for the tendered price of $26,250. I need a mover, please. Councillor Wood. Seconder,
A second.
Councillor McBride. Discussion arising. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 8.5, as and when required road and ditch maintenance tender award. So the Inuvik Town Council hereby awards the 2021 as and when required road and ditch maintenance tender contract to Northwind Industries Limited for the tendered price of $68,000. I need a mover, please. Councillor Wood.
I'll move.
And a seconder, Councillor Barlick. Questions or concerns arising? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 8.6, the 2021 as and required sign and guardrail paving repair tender. So the Inuvik Town Council hereby awards the 2021 as and when required sign, guardrail, and paving repair tender contract to Northwind Industries for the tender price of $29,250. Councillor Barlick. And seconder, Councillor Wood. Questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 8.7, the as and when required brush cutting tender award. The Inuvik Town Council hereby awards the 2021 as and when required brush cutting tender contract to Northwind Industries for the tendered price of $40,300. Need a mover, please. Councillor Wood. Seconder, Councillor Salaki. Discussion arising. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 8.8, the as and when required road fuel supply tender award. The Inuvik Town Council hereby awards the 2021 as and when required road fuel supply tender contract to Northwind Petroleum Limited for the tendered price of $14,450. Mover, please. Councillor Wood. Seconder. Councillor Salaki. All in, or questions? Comments? All in favor? Carried.
Aye.
Item number 9, bylaws. Bylaw 2654 APP 20 to appoint the Director of Finance. So the Inuvik Town Council hereby gives third and final reading to bylaw 2654 APP 20, a bylaw to appoint a Director of Finance. Require a mover, please. Councillor Bartlett. Seconder. Councillor Salaki. Questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. In front of you, you have the documents for 10.1. So item number 10, Department Head Reports. 10.1, Economic Development and Tourism Report. Questions, comments, or concerns? Councillor Bartlett.
Great, thank you. Great report and presentation in the package, by the way, Jackie. Great from your department. Just a quick question. Do you guys have any idea of the general overall uptake of the Shop Local Day and the 1,000 Reasons to Love Inuvik? What was our uptake of that? Rough, if you have any idea.
Good evening. Sorry, excuse my voice. I'm just feeling a little under the weather. To be honest, we didn't have a very large uptake, but as you saw, the winners that did partake were submitted a great presentation, but we only actually had 2 submissions to that. However, we are getting ready to launch for Small Business Week. Next week, our business passport program, and we have quite a few businesses signed up. So I think that we'll be able to.
Great, thank you, Jackie. By the presentation, I hope a lot of other people look at it because it really shows quite effectively how much work you guys did over the summer and how much stuff you guys put on for the residents. So great job to you and your staff again. I hope more people see that presentation because it does a really great job of sort of putting it all together in a nice overview. Good job.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Councillor Salaki.
I'm just wondering if maybe there was information missed, because personally I submitted one for myself and for the greenhouse. So I know I sent in 2 alone. So I'm wondering if maybe some of the submissions didn't come through. They were too large. The pictures were too big or something, because I can resend them to you. But personally, I know I sent them. I thought you guys did a great job. I thought the idea was fantastic and it was a lot of fun. So I'm sorry to hear that you didn't see more coming back, but during the course of the week, we saw lots of people coming to the greenhouse, coming to the market. So I think it was a really good start, and I think it's something that we should continue supporting as long as we can. Nice work.
Thank you, Councillor Slotky. If I could we received 2 video submissions. I should have clarified.
Oh, sorry. I have a cold too, so maybe I misheard you.
No, that's okay. So we received a number of photo and verbal and written submissions, but we only received 2 video submissions, and those were the ones that we were really trying to pull. So
Okay.
yeah, so you're right, because we did receive a number of ones that were photographs and a number that were verbal, written, and like just submitted via email or via Facebook message. But in terms of video, we only received 2.
If at some point we could find out how many people total did do that, that would be really wonderful, just to see what kind of reach that did have, because I'm really interested.
Sure. And the same, like I said, when we do the shop local with the Inuvik passport next week with Small Business Week, we'll be able to afterwards provide pretty accurate numbers in terms of how many submitted.
Thank you. Are there any further questions for Director Chalice? I hope you feel better, Director Chalice. 10.2, the Senior Administrative Officer's Report.
So if I may interrupt us, Councillor Wayman has just joined the meeting.
Thank you.
So you're aware. Now, normally he would have had to declare conflict of interest, but since he joined afterwards, he was not participating in it. But a note should be made in the minutes that he did join the meeting following at the start of section 10.3 or 10.2
10.2.
on the agenda.
Thank you. So Senior Administrative Officer's report. You have the document in front of you. A call for questions, comments, or concerns. Hearing none. 10.3, Planning and Development Report. Also have the document in front of you. Call for questions, comments, or concerns at this time. Hearing none. 10.4, the Community Services Report. Call for questions, comments, or concerns at this time. Item 10.5, Public Services Report. Call for questions, comments, or concerns. Councillor Barlick.
Great, thanks. I see in the report they talk about the Rayon Crescent Park being basically leveled out and put a bunch of black dirt on again. I've seen it. It hopefully will grow in really nicely next year. Are there any specific plans for that area at this point in time, or is it just kind of just laying the groundwork for maybe figuring out what to do with it afterwards?
It's primarily laying the groundwork and looking at where we're going. We've been looking at some of the trails, and obviously it's one of the discussion items that we'll have as we go into budget preparation for 2021 as to where we stand on potential to playgrounds and stuff.
Okay, great, thank you.
Just adding to your, or answering to your question there as well. During our Public Works meeting last year, it was discussed that the terrain had become filled with holes. It was also a danger to the children who were playing and running in the field. So I know it was discussed at that time to fill it in just to make it safer for the youth.
Yeah, no, it should be hopefully really nice next year.
Absolutely.
It'll be packed down nicely by all the skidoos going on there this winter.
Okay, so let's move on to the motion. The Inuvik Town Council hereby adopts the following staff reports as presented. Item 10.1, the Economic Development and Tourism. Item 10.2, the Senior Administrative Officer. Item 10.3, Planning and Development. Item 10.4, Community Services. And item 10.5, Public Services. I need a mover, please. Councillor Salaki, seconder. Sorry, missed it. Councillor Barlick. All in favor? Councillor McBride or Councillor Wayman?
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect. Motion carried. Item number 10, information items. So this 11.1, the strategic priorities chart. Any questions or concerns? Item number 12, council concerns. Councillor Wood.
Sorry about that. Not a concern. I just want to thank Matt Hogan for his service to the town. I understand he's left. But anyway, thank you for a job well done, and hopefully we can find his replacement shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Barlick.
Great, thanks. No big concern. Just wanted to mention that I was excited to see. It appears that some of our performance pavilion stuff has come in. They look like they were offloading it at Chief Jim Cooey Park earlier. So I'm looking very much forward to seeing that start to come up, and I think it'll generate some buzz and excitement around town to start seeing some of the infrastructure put in place there in the park. So good to see that happening.
Councillor Salaki.
Sorry, we blew past the strategic priorities chart, so I had a couple questions on there.
Sure. We'll finish council concerns and we'll go back.
Okay. For council concerns, it's actually same as Councillor Barlick just said. I've had a lot of people approach me about how wonderful Jim Cooey Park is starting to look. I hesitate to bring this up because it may sound like I have a conflict here, but it actually would be the opposite of a pecuniary interest. A lot of people in town are wondering about that beautifully sorted soil and the potential for next summer or next spring, having people able to access some so they can work on gardening in their homes and their greenhouses and doing up some of their yards. One of the biggest problems here is finding affordable dirt. So maybe that lovely sifter that's been used could be used to bring a little more out to use for some of the community members that want to grow low-cost food in their gardens and in their homes. But it looks fantastic, and the work that's being done there is promising for the year to come.
If I may clarify, Councilor Slotky, and for council, is that that dirt that's coming from the by the golf course has always been available for the public to use free of charge. They just can't bring a loader. They have to do it, hand bomb it themselves. They just have to arrange to get the gate opened and that. And we did actually send out something earlier this year about the availability of the dirt. So it has always been available for free of charge for residents for that purpose that you're talking about.
Thank you for the clarification. It's that lovely sifting that happens after that's so wonderful. I did have one other thing that's come up. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. It's the idling situation in Inuvik right now. It gets bad this time of year because it gets down below 0 or gets around 0, and everyone's idling their vehicles. People are doing it for a full hour over their lunch breaks. You can feel the air quality isn't as good in town because people are idling because it's getting a little cooler. I know that it's an impossible thing to enforce, and that while we do have it in a bylaw, we have one bylaw officer, and it's not the kind of thing he's going to sit around and look at. I would really love to see a campaign online of some sort explaining the dangers of idling and how it's not necessary with most new vehicles, and what it actually does to our environment by leaving your vehicle running for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and how much fuel you're wasting, how much it's costing you, and what it's actually doing to our environment as well.
Thank you. I had received something on that today as well, and we will be looking at something there. If it's okay, Deputy Mayor McDonald, again, I want to thank Officer Hogan for his time at the town. I just want to clarify a little bit that we'll be taking a little different approach in replacing that position, in that we'll be looking more to, and we've had an ad out, it closed last week, for an animal control officer instead, just because to take the pressure off of our municipal enforcement people. And also we are looking at the possibility, our preference is going to be finding somebody local for that position. And just take a bit of a change on it so that the municipal enforcement officer can concentrate on things like idling and that, and not out looking at, and then we have a dedicated person that'll do the animal control.
Thank you. Councillor Slotky, you wanted to talk to the strategic priorities chart?
Yeah, there's just a number of things that have gone past. There's a few things on the timeline that are September. There's some things under finance administration in July. I know that a lot of our timelines are not correct because of COVID, but it would be really nice for next council if we could have an update on some of those timelines. I don't expect them tonight, but if maybe now that SAO is back, if in the next month that this could be revamped to kind of get a real understanding of where we're at with some of these things on this strategic priority chart.
SAO.
Yep.
I'll leave that with you. Okay, anything else in the strategic priorities chart? Okay, we'll go on to item number 13, in-camera items. I don't believe there are any in-camera items.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and then item 14, a motion to adjourn. Councillor Slotky. Have a good evening. Thank you.